In April 2026, Moscow hosted the Russian Space Forum, projecting the state's vision into the next decade. Organizers positioned consumer goods as the next strategic frontier, framing household products as the vehicle to return a sense of the big dream to the average consumer experience. The technical sessions focused on a low-orbit economy built on automated planetary navigation, artificial intelligence, and a proposed network of orbital data centers. These projections claim that massive national satellite constellations will drive the space economy to a value of $1.8 billion by 2035. To anchor this vision in the public consciousness, they announced the Andromeda Nebula, a multimedia universe intended to foster a sense of shared purpose and a drive toward deep space exploration in the next generation. By weaving together high-tech economic forecasts and state-sponsored science fiction, organizers attempted to project a comprehensive vision of a spacefaring future that exists primarily on paper. This narrative relies heavily on the legacy of the past. Today, 91% of the Russian public still identifies Yuri Gagarin's flight as the nation's primary source of pride. However, recent polling shows this pride does not extend to the present. Over half of the population describes the modern program as stagnant or facing significant problems. When asked to identify a single recent achievement, nearly a fifth were unable to provide an answer. These results suggest that for most Russians, the glossy promises of the summit do not align with what they see happening at the launch sites. The math behind that skepticism became clear in January 2026, during the Korolev's readings, a review of Roscosmos's actual hardware schedule. The official timeline presented there revealed a 3-year gap where not a single Russian scientific mission is expected to reach a launch pad. The Luna 26 orbiter, the program's top priority, has been delayed, making a launch in 2029 the most likely scenario. Planners scheduled Luna 27 landers to fly in 1-year intervals immediately after, but current industry conditions make a turnaround of that speed highly improbable. Meanwhile, deep space exploration has been effectively abandoned. Probes to Mars, Jupiter, and the Sun are removed from the schedule entirely. Away from the press conferences, the hardware schedule, the physical ledger of the space program, is in a state of quiet collapse. Major astrophysics projects, including the Spectre-M observatory and the Venera-Venus lander, have now been pushed into the mid-2030s. In aerospace engineering, launch dates set a decade in the future often function merely as bureaucratic placeholders, used to maintain a project's budget on paper without committing to a concrete assembly timeline. This delay in core planetary science stands in direct opposition to the forum's focus on commercial growth and private investment in the low-orbit economy. The state is hosting high-level panels on managing orbital traffic, while simultaneously losing the hardware capability to reach those orbits. These futuristic summit agendas function as vaporware, designed to keep investors and the public focused on a fictional 2035 instead of a stagnant 2026. This pivot away from engineering is a strategic choice. For decades, space has served as a primary site for utopian social imagination, a central pillar of national identity. During the Soviet era, this vision was anchored by physical evidence, the first artificial satellite and the first human to orbit the planet. But today, Russia lacks the industrial capacity to compete with the current scale of Chinese or American launch tempos. While other agencies are successfully integrating commercial partnerships to sustain heavy lift programs, Roscosmos is struggling to maintain its basic robotic missions. Unable to produce competitive physical hardware, the program has shifted its output toward manufacturing narrative, nostalgia, and multimedia propaganda. When a program prioritizes the production of media over the production of rockets, the actual aerospace infrastructure begins to hollow out. The agency is currently caught between the ghosts of its Soviet past and the paper promises of its 2030 schedule, with very little physical reality in between. A space program cannot be sustained by narrative alone. Without closing the gap between its public relations and its engineering, Russia risks becoming a terrestrial museum of historical achievements, while the rest of the world moves beyond them.